Hey everybody, how's it going? And we are back. Yes, we're back. Been a long time, but things take time. Things take time to make, and I'm a lazy bastard. So, yeah, here we are. So, after the stomping of the last game, it was a 3-1. I decided to look at how I could improve on my team because there was clearly some weak links, and well, we also discovered that Bulldog was an absolute sexy animal, but apart from that, we got an injury to one of our best players. Can't pronounce his name. Scoose, we're going to go with. He was one of our best midfielders, and he got injured. So we thought, heck, let's have a little look at the what we could possibly capture ourselves on the transfer market. We did manage to sign a fairly good, fast white man who managed to score in his first game, like Grendel, whatever his name is. I've got no idea how you pronounce it. He was pretty damn good. So I just thought I'd go through, have a little look, try and put my line out the best possible team I can, because I didn't really spend that much time on it the first time round. And yeah, so that's alright. Now I've got that into order, let's have a little look at what we could buy. And I was a bit of a tool when it came to using the transfer search thing. I was like, yeah, let's just go search this. And it was like, hey, what about Basharon? I was like, no, that's more than my entire team is worth. Let's try and refilter that a little bit. And so we just really were looking for some bargains, some really players that don't cost us a huge amount of money, that would completely wipe us out and we could actually afford them. And then I thought I'd get clever and have a little play with the slider. So yeah, I know what I'll do. I'll put all the money across onto the transfer budget. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Then I can afford really expensive people, and then they'll come and play for me once I bought them. And I went, oh yeah, I won't have any wages left. I'm a complete and utter idiot. So yeah, unless they want to play for me for free, that'd be great. I'd love them a long time, but that's not exactly going to happen. So yeah, that was a bad idea. So then obviously I put that back to normal again, and then I started to think, yeah, alright, let's try and get some absolute bargains. Let's see what's worth £10,000. And then I realised, oh, that's all the old people. Yeah, like the ancient people of football. 36. You're ancient. I mean, you're just so old. You need to help cross the road. You need a child to help you across the road. And but even then, even if they do need to play in wheelchairs, they'll probably still be better than everyone on my team. So I was more than happy to try and go for them, seeing as their ratings were higher than nearly everyone on my team. But then I discovered that every single one of them was like, retire at end of season, retire at end of season. I was like, oh, fuck my life. Really? It's like, why show it? Why even put them on the display? That's maybe FIFA should fix that. Why put them up there if you can't even buy them? You know what I mean? Because they just retire at the end of season. It just stops you from signing them, which I really didn't understand. So I tried to go for Nesta, because obviously Nesta's an absolute hero. I've played FIFA for a long time, and he used to be one of my favourite centre backs. He's degraded a bit now, seeing as his pace is awful, and anyone can run around him. But hey, it's Nesta. You've got to have that. Imagine him at Bristol City. It'd be brilliant. And yeah, so nearly every single one of them was saying they were going to retire, and that was a bit of a nightmare. So then yeah, I just kept looking through all the different possible positions of the players. So I would search defence, and I'd search midfield, and each time just going through, having a little look at their stats. Obviously always looking for that pace, and wasn't really finding anything, to be honest with you. Obviously I was trying to be a bit hopeful, trying to get free signings, free agents across, which would have been amazing, but seeing as I'm Bristol City, it was highly unlikely I was going to be able to sign any of them, and I wasn't very high hoping. And yeah, I didn't even find any in the attackers, not a single one, like anything. So I was like, okay, let's actually up the amount we're willing to pay, because I wasn't too worried about defence, because really it's not that difficult to defend, even if you've got terrible defenders. FIFA doesn't really penalise you that hard for having terrible defenders, if that makes sense, unless you were put against someone really strong. And we're obviously in a very low division at the moment, so defence isn't an area we really are that worried about. We really want to just get some really good strikers and just outscore the other team, So that's what we were looking for here. Pace is just going to help me just run through the team and get some goals. Well, obviously depending on what settings I decide to play against. I think I might up the settings, because even though I'm terrible against the computer and only good against actual players, I put it on professional. I thought, yeah, that'd be high enough. And 3-1, I found it fairly okay. They still managed to score. Not surprising because I'm terrible at defending. But hey, doesn't matter. I still won. Don't take the piss at me. And yeah, so just thought might as well look for midfielders and strikers. And here, I'm starting to find some younger players and just trying to assess them, see if they could, don't really understand the youth system on seasons, because I hear that you can just get players and then they slowly grow season by season, but I've never really understood how you do that. I've sent out scouts and then they come back with this information and you get players and then nothing ever happens to me. Maybe it's just that I don't play enough seasons, as in successive seasons in a row. But yeah, so I think it'd be good to get a younger player rather than an old player that would just retire at the end of the season. A bit of a waste of time, and then I'll have to do the whole process over again. So really, we want to try and get some young players, which either are already pretty good or they're going to become good. And this guy, I think, was a player I was interested in because he was very quick. Let me just look at that. I think that's 93 acceleration, very pacey. So I was just adding them to shortlist so that I could, quickly go through later on and then start making offers. And here I'm just clicking on players, and then I think it's the right stick you use to go down and then check the stats of the other person against it. And it's just a really quick way of flicking through them, because it actually goes through quicker than going through each player individually by doing that. Useful tip that I found out. Yeah, and so far, this is just so tedious. It just goes on for ages. We just search, trying to be the biggest Jew possible. Just I'm gonna find a good player. We'll find a good player. I'm determined to find a good player. And yeah, it just keeps going on and on. All these players you've never heard of. That's what I like about it. The way, it's one thing that I liked about the transfers is that you start to see all these players you've never even heard of. And sometimes that means you could go use a different team, because sometimes you just lose where players go. There's so many players where I actually haven't got a clue where they've gone anymore, because they just move around that much in real life, and then they obviously FIFA moves them, and then you're just oh, where the hell did they even go? No, obviously not big names. Everyone always knows where all the big players are, but I'm talking about the sort of small pacey players that you learn where they are, and then you go and use them and just dick all over your friends and have a laugh about it because you're playing as a 3-star team that somehow has this 92 acceleration up front, and you're just lol. You just run around them and it's just yeah, you know how it is. And I saw David Beckham and I was like, yeah baby, bit of David Beckham, that'd be amazing. And yeah, I don't think, so I thought add to shortlist, have a little look at him, have a little go. Why not? Why wouldn't you want David Beckham at Bristol City? So here's me changing back the slider. I think I might have said it the wrong way around earlier. I think what I did was I gave it all to the wages and then realised I wouldn't have enough money to buy any good players anyway. So yeah, the other way around. I still don't understand it. I'm still an idiot. Whatever. So yeah, now I'm just trying to sign the players. Gotta love the way it puts a little pen to paper and does a little signature. How fancy. Love it. Yeah, I wasn't very hopeful about all these players I was trying to get hold of. So Marcos Senna, what an absolute legend. And yeah, so it was not going well of finding the fast players, but I was persistent, kept having a little look through, and I think I do find quite a good few players, and I make a few offers on them. And a few of you are probably wondering why I haven't used the secondary search option. I actually did try it, the second attribute, move it to movement speed, and then then it should be able to zone out all the people that aren't the level of acceleration or sprint speed that I want. But it's kept bugging for some weird reason. It wouldn't actually let me find players that were actually there, which was really annoying. I think I may have tried it here. It's hard to tell because I've obviously sped it up, but it just literally wouldn't find anyone. When I put 80 movement speed, then between such a price, and overall between such and such, for some weird reason, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but it actually wouldn't find the players even though they were there. So I just stopped using that, and then I had to do it the tedious way of just flicking through them all. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut now and cut to the bit where I start making offers and just sign into the players. So after a long time searching for players and adding them to the shortlist, I finally went onto the shortlist and started making a few offers for them. And obviously every single one I tried to get for as cheap as possible because why not?
you got to have a go, haven't you? And then I just wait for their reply, and most of the replies were, yeah, you could fuck off. Most of them were. Most of them were like, yeah, get out of my town. And you can just see the players here. Some of them very good. Fabinho, I was really, really, really interested in because he was 70 overall, quite young, and had a lot of skill. And there's also the old players that I was trying to get a hold of. And yeah, so now I don't know what I'm doing. Probably just looking through who's going to replace who, where they could go, who I really need, who's really important for my team, and stuff like that. So yeah, there's obviously endless room for improvement because it's such a weak side, and any of these signings would be really, really good for me. So now I just move along the calendar a bit, see what happens. I think this club said I hadn't offered them enough, and as you can see, my transfer budget's already in the minus. So that's probably because I think the money goes down when you make an offer for someone else, and then if that gets refused, the money will then go back up again, if that makes sense. So it's like the money's locked up elsewhere, so it's not really a minus until you have proceeded with all the deals and whether they've accepted or declined. And as you just saw there, LA Galaxy was like, they're not prepared to give up David Beckham unless for a fee of such and such, and I was just, no, it's just out of my range completely. And I like the little newspaper thing. I think that slowly became completely all about Bristol City because it was just like, oh yeah, they're trying to sign all these good players. But yeah, I think that's just a nice little feature. Quite like that, especially when you're like sat for ages just clicking advance. I think it'd be good if you could just, maybe if you weren't that interested in who was going where, just click advance all, because the computer knows what it's going to do with all the players. Like, I think there's some people have a laugh and say that Mascherano always moves to Manchester United or something like that, because the computer knows what it's going to do before it does it. It always does the same thing pretty much. So I don't really see the whole point in this slowly moving them. But yeah, I think it's obviously to make it more realistic, because obviously things don't happen all in one go. So this is just me trying to negotiate the contracts. This, finally, he was actually happy with the price I was prepared to give up. They just said how much wage and all that. And yeah, Nesta as well. But of course, his wage was ridiculously high, but I thought, why not? I'll go for it. And yeah, a little hint for you people out there who didn't know this: you can actually press the back button on this FIFA and it will change the song. The things you learn, hey, the things you learn. I remember on PS2 it used to be the right stick, actually, I think, that changed the song, but now it's the back button on Xbox 360. I don't know what it is on PS3. I don't know if you still have a select button or something and you press that, maybe that makes the song change. No idea. Yeah, I really had no idea what I was doing with these contracts. I was just sort of going for it, just thought, yeah, just type in anything and then they'll come back to me and then I'll decide after that. So in the next video you'll see us play our next game. We won't have our new players yet because they're still going to be deciding on the offers that I've made for them, and the clubs are still making their decisions. So I hope you found this video entertaining and you got to laugh at my failing on manager mode. So yeah, thanks for watching and look forward to the next one.